Down 63% in 2022. Is DocuSign stock a buy for 2023? I'm going to answer that question in this video, so stay tuned. The first thing I'm going to look at to determine if it's a buy is quarterly revenue growth year over year. And looking back until before 2019, DocuSign was growing at a nice, let's say roughly 36% growth rate. And then, of course, that exploded during the pandemic, when the earlier stages of the pandemic, when we were supposed to stay 6 feet apart from other people and coming together, sitting across the table, sitting next to each other to sign documents didn't really seem to be necessary when we can do it electronically. DocuSign's revenue surged over 50% quarterly. And now that economies are reopening, that is becoming a headwind for DocuSign comparing to the previous years when it was operating during the pandemic surge. So revenue growth in the most recent quarter has slowed to 18%. I would not be surprised if this slowdown persists for several quarters. However, longer term, I feel confident in DocuSign's growth prospects, given that signing documents electronically is just so much more convenient than doing it in person, saves the hassle from both the business perspective and the customer perspective. Neither of these two parties would prefer to spend the time, effort, energy, and resources to come together to sign these documents, and so both parties benefit from electronic signatures. The next thing I want to look at is DocuSign's operating income growth. If you've been following my channel, what I look for is when revenue is increasing, growing fast, I want to see evidence of economies in scale. I want to see growth in profitability as revenue expands, and I do see that here for DocuSign. If we go back here and we draw a curve up here, you could see an upward trend in DocuSign's operating income, starting out in the negative 40, 50 million, 60 million range, and increasing to 650,000 in profits in its most operating income profit in its most recent quarter, and a nice upward trend, so that you can, as an investor, reasonably expect it to continue expanding its profit margins as revenue expands. So this is a good sign for investors. And similarly, I want to look at cash flow from operations, and I want to see a similar trend. I want to see an upward trend in cash flow from operations as revenue increases, and I do see that for DocuSign. If we're starting back here before 2019, you can see an upward trend in cash flow from operations and positive 52.5 million in cash flow from operations. So again, upward trend, although not as pronounced compared to operating income, although we do see evidence of economies in scale here. Finally, I want to look at valuation to determine if DocuSign stock is a buy for 23. And I'm going to look at price to free cash flow and the forward PE ratio, and it's trading at a price to free cash flow of 28.7. It's just about as cheap as it's been going back to before 2019. So I like that the stock is trading cheaper than ever in comparison to itself. And also similarly, when looking at the forward PE ratio, it's cheaper than it's been since going back to 2021 at a PE forward of 28.7. And also this PE and price to free cash flow is only moderately above the S&P average of around 19 for the price to earnings ratio, forward PE ratio. So you are paying a premium for DocuSign, but I believe that premium is justified because of the growth that it has demonstrated, both in terms of revenue growth and growth in operating income and cash flow from operations, as well as the long-term prospects for the industry. Electronic signatures has that tailwind behind it, since it's a lot more convenient than signing documents in person. The industry overall has that long-running tailwind supporting growth for its participants, DocuSign included. So to answer the question, is DocuSign stock a buy for 2023? I'm going to say yes, DocuSign stock is a buy for 2023. All right, that's all I've got for this video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. say yes. I want to thank the Motley Fool for sponsoring this video. Visit fool.com/parkev for the 10 best stocks to buy now.